Hello, happy Monday. Everyone. Might be all of us. I've reached the size. I think I know that delivery is quite large now because I generally get like a general sense of numbers of people. I'm like, could this be all of us? I'm not sure. I think everyone else might be out. So, Henry, should we just go straight to release management stuff? Since that's kind of like been the the highlight of the day so far.
The highlight of the week and the day, yes. Yeah, so release management was quite painful for the last 2 weeks, and mostly because the dev instance probably got slower or overloaded with more stuff over time, and we just hit the tipping point now in January. And combined with other issues that we have, like those with skip bridge jobs if job fails, and other smaller things that led to a lot of manual work. And that also meant that, for instance, the security release failed building packages for a long time because they failed timed out and things like that. So overall, there's a nice comment from Robert about a summary of the issues that we are facing now, especially interesting for new incoming release managers maybe. And the efforts that we have going right now are mostly around trying to speed up dev short term, and then trying to move it over to GCP. But this is quite a little bit more effort, and we shouldn't do this week probably before the monthly release. That could be a little bit too much. So currently the best action that we can take this week probably is just changing the disk setup on the instance, which shouldn't take a too long downtime and shouldn't be too complicated. Maybe that already helps enough. Yeah, and
how's the disk switch going?
Yeah, so I managed to create new disks and I set them up. And now I'm writing together the procedure to follow in a CR to actually do the switch, because we need to copy over data, then need to stop the instance, then do an, not the instance, but the services on the instance, then unmount, do a last async over to the new disks, and then mount them at the right place. And this needs to be done with a little bit of coordination. So I'm writing this together, and then you can see when we do this, probably better during low traffic times. So maybe Graham can take this on, else I can do this tomorrow probably.
Yeah, ask Graham to do it. I think that's well-timed change, as well as saving us a bit of extra time as well. So cool. Yeah. Great.
What we can see in the Grafana link here is that our deployment SLO, of course, suffered a little bit, but you don't see it too much, interestingly. Deploy timings got up and our SLO got down a little bit, but we didn't always take much longer than 8 hours to finish a deployment. Apparently, we still managed to sometimes get the pipelines through eventually, even though we needed to retry most of the jobs or most of the pipelines. But the effort for that was just too much, right? Because you need to babysit each of the pipelines and wait and see if something fails. So it was a high price for that.
Cool. So I mentioned a few things in oh no, actually let's go. So yeah, so this the fix hopefully for the skip jobs just merged this like last minute. So fingers crossed. I think the unknown at this moment is whether this bug is actually what we're seeing. So hopefully it is. But Robert, yeah, do you want to verbalize?
Yeah, so because we only run official patch releases on ops, we're not going to see the benefit of this until we either do this 14.7 release, assuming it's in the 14.7 release, or do a kind of 14.6 patch release just for us, which I'm not opposed to, especially to fix this bug because it's so annoying, but that would kind of take away from this run up to the 22nd we're doing right now. So do some trade-offs.
I mean, Henry, how? Go ahead.
We anyway wanted to do maybe another patch release just to test if we got a better performance with dev, because we also have another issue with publishing, right? If we create a release and tag, like we saw this with the security release, then building the packages, because a lot of packages were built at the same time, really overloaded dev. So it really struggled a lot. And after we improve the disks, maybe today or tomorrow, it would be maybe a good idea to see if we can do a patch release, because maybe we need to do it anyway. And then we would have a good test case before the monthly release to see how good publishing is working, because it could be that on Saturday, which is the 22nd, when we need to trigger the tagging or the publishing. Okay, we do the publishing only on Saturday, but also that was problematic, right, Robert, in the security release?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, so having some kind of test with a patch release maybe wouldn't be that bad. And then we could also get something over to ops then with the improved pipelines maybe.
Do you think you'll be able to patch tomorrow, Henry, or would that be too much for the release managers and we should ask for maybe like Ruben, maybe Myra to help if needed?
I think it should work, maybe not in my first part of the day, because need to look into how far we got with the disks. We should do the patching after the disk, I think, to have a test case. But I think it should work. It's we should reach out and for help, yeah. But maybe I or Robert would be able to do a patch release, right?
And so what I'd say to like both of you really is like, this week is all about this release, right? Like after last week's pain. So if we have to stop all of our projects and have the whole team kind of help out to get 14.7, then let's do that. So see how you get on. But yeah, after the disks, let's plan a patch. Or to be honest, like even if you don't get the disks done, like if the disks for whatever get delayed, but let's aim to patch tomorrow and hope we have the disks in place, because it would be really good to know if this bridge jobs thing is fixed, because if it's not, we need to ask them to prioritize another bug, and I worry about how long that might take.
Yeah, sounds reasonable.
Cool. Okay, great stuff. Is there anything else anyone wants to like mention about this topic or any other topics? Okay, so kind of just I guess general view is over the last few weeks we've had like lots of these kind of little pain points, and they kind of combine together. Like what I want us to be really thinking of as we go through this year is how can we catch these things and take them away. So like any retries we have, any of these little brittle things where we see oddities, like feels like we have a lot of those in place at the moment. So that's the sort of stuff I'd love us, like as we start moving, like if we're going to do continuous deployment like properly, it's a pipeline that just runs itself and it goes to production, and we have like metrics and things. So we need to really find a way where we're actually able to like identify these things, and I don't know, like hand off to people, like so it's not just release managers kind of firefighting all the time, but start thinking about ways which we could like track and isolate these things, because it feels like release management is getting harder and harder over the months, and that's definitely not the way we want to be going. As we bring in new people, it's quite tricky to onboard them because there's so much like, oh, here's a random error that has happened, and what you now need to do is debug all of this stuff, right? Versus just staying within our tooling. Awesome. Great. Are there any other topics people want to bring up? No? Okay.